Hello call members, Becker and Polyakov clients, and friends. Many of you already know me, but for those of you who don't, my name is Donna DiMaggio Berger, and I'm a shareholder with the law firm of Becker and Polyakov for many years. I want to talk to you about the changed landscape you will have to navigate as volunteer board members and managers in the aftermath of the 2017 legislative session. Senate Bill 1682 was this year's large condo bill, and it was the result in large part from the Miami-Dade grand jury report, which outlined various problems with elections and inspections of records in Miami-Dade County. The bill was sponsored by Senator Rene Garcia. Some of the operational changes you will need to understand and implement in the coming months include term limits for board members. Now, we've heard threats about imposing these before, but this year, it really happened. Condominium directors will not be able to serve more than 4 consecutive 2-year terms unless 2/3 of the owners vote to allow terms beyond the limits, or there are not enough candidates running. There will now also be criminal penalties for forged signatures on ballots and voting certificates, refusal to allow inspection of the records in furtherance of a crime, destruction of records, and theft of association funds. The last 2 activities were already punishable crimes. While self-dealing, fraud, and other criminal activity should always be punished swiftly and uniformly, the bill does not take into account that many board members do not actively involve themselves in either the elections or the inspections process, as these functions are routinely delegated to their professional managers. Certainly, there needs to be clearly defined boundaries and protocol on these processes in light of the heightened liabilities. Changed recall procedures. While the board is still required to hold a meeting within 5 days of being served with a petition for recall, the board can no longer vote to certify or not certify a recall, nor will the board have the ability to file a petition for recall arbitration should it dispute the validity of the petition presented to it. The new law will require the recalled board members to personally file a petition for recall arbitration should they wish to challenge the validity of the recall. This shift in responsibility creates a real problem when the board is presented with a petition that is clearly deficient. Association websites for associations with more than 150 units will be required by July 1st, 2018. The stated purpose for such website requirement is for posting certain limited records, such as the governing documents and all amendments, management agreement and any other contract to which the association is a party, bids, budget, financial reports, certifications for each director, notice of meetings, and more. The financial reporting requirement was amended to eliminate the minimum 50-unit threshold that previously allowed smaller condominiums to simply prepare a report of cash receipts and expenditures. Now those communities will have to prepare financial reports based upon their revenues. Associations who may have been using debit cards in the association's name for purchases or to pay association expenses can no longer do so. Only credit cards may be used. Ostensibly, this reasoning is that the debit charges come and flow directly from the bank and there's no breaks. Bylaws and rules will now be open to inspection by tenants. There's no mention in the new law whether or not the monetary penalties of $50 per day up to 10 days apply if a tenant's request goes unfulfilled. Apparently in this aspect, the bill provided tenants the right to inspect with no teeth in the event the request goes unfulfilled. All of these new changes create some challenges and more than a few new potential headaches for your board and your manager. Our community association attorneys at Becker and Polyakov are already discussing and creating the new protocols your board can implement, which will blunt the harsher edges of the unintended consequences which will certainly flow from some of these changes.